Andrews.
Yeah, just to provide a little balance here. So Tom Andrews says, how good a KR? We smashed the champions at home.
I'm right.
Yeah. Fair play to Wigan. Wigan absorbed everything Warrington threw at them. I can't stand any of the departing players / coach, but can see how good they have been, so it's nice for them to get a good send-off. So here's a good suggestion from Tom. I think Warrington should be renamed the Magnums, as I can't think of a word for a bigger bottle. Enjoy the win, Mark. Well, I was trying to think what those really huge bottles of champagne are called, but it won't come to mind.
Magnums.
No, there is a bigger size.
There's like Ebenezer or something.
Well, you can Google that whilst Tim goes through Paul Chamberlain's.
Yeah, so Paul Chamberlain said, first trip to Old Toilet since the 94 Kangaroos test. Still a dump. Excellent Wigan defence and clinical finishing trumped Wyre's possession and territory. As at Wembley, Wyre's halves were poor. I'm happy not to see Roberts again. Marquis, more Jacksy. Hill and Clark were outstanding and didn't deserve to lose. But happy for Wayne. Pity Lenigan also gets to celebrate after his club and Super League machinations.
Yeah, he's a Liverpool football fan, is Paul. That explains his side swipe at the finest stadium in the land. At White Pie, Lee says, well, it wasn't a classic, but it was a great game nevertheless. Wigan were dominant in defence, but kept making silly errors with the ball to invite pressure. But after Charnley's try managed to keep Wyre out and work 3 good tries. Roberts and Brown are stealing a living, so no surprise Ratchford was man of the match. He was the only creativity Wyre had. 2 great tries from Manfredi and a cut head for his troubles, keeping Lynham out.
So DJ Knight says, enjoyable game for a neutral and a real cliffhanger for most of it, although I felt Wigan's never say die defence was the difference. Nice to see the ground packed out too, well, to a degree.
Visually, it probably was. It was right at the top.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. To be fair, on television, I'm sure it did. So Tompkins will be glad Wigan had a decent lead in the end. On a different day, it may have been ruining those missed kicks. Well, to be fair, we didn't see many kicks made all day, did we?
No.
To be fair, the wind such as it was, because it wasn't in one direction, it was a real swirler
inside Old Trafford.
Yeah, but trying to get any sort of kick away was going to be an absolute impossibility.
No, I agree. For them to even get it close to the sticks was impressive in my eyes, because they were all wingers tries as well, weren't they? So they were all touchline conversions.
Yeah, they were.
Have you done the stats to look up if we've had any other grand finals where we haven't had a kick before?
No.
There we go.
Simple answer.
I can't recall a grand final where we haven't had a kick.
No, because there wasn't even a penalty goal either.
No, there's normally a penalty in the first 10 minutes, isn't there?
I'm pretty sure the 4 points scored by Warrington was the lowest a side has managed to score in a grand final since the Super League grand final started in '98 as well. So yeah.
Anyway, Paul O'Brien, POB 1976, said, not a classic, but a game full of emotion. Wayne bows out of Rugby League, a grand final winner with the Warriors. Tompkins lucky not to get yellow for the trip, but thought Hicks used common sense on Tompkins and Charnley with the knees. Both Brown and Roberts were non-existent for Wyre and failed to control the game. Pleased to Wayne and all the Wigan fans, and happy that yet again it's not Warrington's year. We get that one for at least another year.
Mark Butler said, it had been so long since I'd gone to a grand final that the last one was won by Bradford.
Whoa, steady on.
Bloody hell.
Despite this game taking longer than Ben Hur, I enjoyed it. Great defence from both, but Wigan worthy winners, and if they'd been a bit cleaner in possession they might have turned the screw earlier. There seemed to be a few more irritable people around than usual, hopefully just the big game tension, but not very nice.
So Carsten says, brilliant defence by Wigan with a man of the match performance from Dom Manfredi. Bryson Goodwin with a shocker of a match and a Wyre without ideas how to break the Wigan defence. Only Ratchford and Charnley came up with something. Sam Tompkins will leave the club as a winner and is the biggest grub since Billy Slater retired 2 weeks ago. Sean Wayne tears show his true love for the club.
Oh no, it's Tim.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's me. Yeah, Fatboy_Rob said the result of this game may have been different if Robert Hicks hadn't left his bollocks in the dressing room. Having said that, Wigan did what they do best: kill the game by any means necessary. Wire had a couple of chances, but no one could be asked, backing Ratchford up on either of his breaks. I'm pleased the chinless wonder didn't claim the second biggest prize in RL. That is a classic Fatboy review. Well done.
JGS Muzzy, who's James, who was Rob's friend at the game, he said, first game I've watched live, it was interesting but lacked the back and forth of other games I have watched on the TV. Wigan didn't set the world on fire, but Warrington were worse. Sloppy handling and a seeming refusal to use the overlap on the wings in general. Overall, for the neutral watching, in brackets who is a Union fan, it was frustrating. Kicking by both teams was poor, both conversions and kicking for touch.
Yeah, I think
the same in this sport because we don't have.
Because you can't profit from it in the same way. Yeah.
No, I actually thought in the second half, Wigan's territorial kicking for the most part was very, very good.
Yeah, there was one absolutely beautiful kick that Tompkins put in, a real end-over-end roller that just towards, I think it's probably about the last 10 minutes, just went out, and that was a really, really beautiful kick because it was really precise and just went straight over, and it stopped the clock and gave them some time to regather a bit, and that was an amazing kick, I thought.
Yeah, but obviously, despite the mitigation we talked about, yes, there was no goals kick, so you can't say it was good, can you?
No.
So I'm with James on that.
Yeah, fair enough. So Lee Whitnell says, an attritional game, not a classic for the neutral, I suspect. 8-4 should have been the final result with Williams' brilliant kick to the corner, the match-winning play. But Deck Patton's stupid chip over the top put us on the back foot. Handing the Pies the third try and guaranteed a victory. Creatively, we were poor throughout. Brown was wank and Roberts average. Rats tried, but couldn't do it all on his own. Well done, Wigan.
Yeah, definitely agree with that one on Brown.
You get used to it, I suppose.
He says, well done. What more do you want?
No, I know. I'm saying he was gracious. I wasn't being sarcastic. I was being genuine.
Anyway, St David said, one for the purists, as they say. I don't think the purists were very impressed either. Compelling to watch, though, and a fair result in the end, although it would have been interesting to see whether Wyatt could have exploited an extra man if Tompkins had been sin-binned for the trip, which he should have been.
John Hamilton said, congrats to Wigan and Mark, a really strong defensive display that stifled a nervous Warrington. Ratchford head and shoulders above his teammates, but couldn't inspire them to a better attacking set finishes. Whilst I don't have a favourite Wigan player, Manfredi is certainly the one I dislike the least. Massive performance from him. Almost felt happy for Sean Wayne as well. Almost. John, you're a Leeds fan. He played for you, didn't he? Be happy for him.
In just to tidy up loose ends, the biggest size of a bottle is a Nebuchadnezzar, which is 20 bottles worth. That's 15 litres. The size down from that is a Balthazar.
Wasn't that the name of the weird? I don't know if you call it. It's not a spaceship, but whatever the people in the Matrix travelled around on. Wasn't that the name of their sewer ship or whatever it was? Yeah.
It was definitely some science fiction. Balthazar is a 16 bottler of 12 litres, and a Salmanzar is a 12 bottle one from down there. And then Methuselah, Robofim, Jeroboam is the 3 litres.
So there you go. If Wire lose the final next year, they are the Warrington Nebuchadnezzars, aren't they? We had one more in that's not on your guys' rundown because it came in today, but I didn't want this chap to miss out because one, he's a Wigan fan, so they deserve to be heard when they're celebrating their glory.
Special treatment for Wigan. I mean, what sure. Carries on a theme, doesn't it?
Well, we're just as biased as the RFL over at the Super League fan, and also it's the first time he's actually mustered up the time to send in a game review, so I wanted to make sure it was covered in. And this chap is Andy Curry at Andy RD Curry, and he says, "This is my first one ever, Mark, so please go gentle on me." I've not had a lot of people say that to me before. Not a lot of men, anyway. Me and my mate Dave made the 230-mile plus round trip to Old Trafford from God's Rock, Anglesey, to see the mighty Warriors spank the Wire for the third time in 6 years. This time we stayed in Media City, which I would highly recommend, as for one thing, you could actually get to the bar. Unfortunately, yet again the fan zone was a pile of shite. One fucking bar for 64,000 people. Clever that.
Yeah, damn right. He can come again. Agree with that.
Yeah, I'm on board too. With regards to the game, I couldn't see a way of the Wire beating us, as our D has been unbelievably good for the last 2 months, and I was proved right. Having watched the game back today, I'm also miffed with all the Wire fans moaning about Sam Tompkins, as I actually think Hicks had a great game and was pretty consistent in key decisions. What disgusted me more was their idiotic fans hurling shit at the Wigan players at half-time. That's not rugby league fan behaviour. I do think Warrington fought hard and played pretty well. Wigan just played at a slightly higher level in every aspect of their game and played with much more desire and intensity throughout. Ratchford, Hill and Clark were all good for Wire, but none were man of the match contenders. The contenders for me all came from the Wigan side. Luluai, Williams and Manfredi in particular stood out, and Don Manfredi should have picked up the prize. What an amazing comeback that man has made, and he epitomises what it is to be a Wigan warrior. All 4 tries were excellent though. Both teams' conversions were shocking. Thank God the in-game kicking was much better. The atmosphere, as always at OT, was incredible, and 64,000 is a decent turnout. It was also great to see how many fans stayed for the presentation, and emotions really did run high. I myself shed a few tears seeing what it meant to this amazing group of men. I can't thank Wayne, Tompkins, Bateman enough for all they have been through, for all they have done and have always been adored and will be missed massively. And I hope the idiots in the Wayne Out Brigade are happy now. It's pretty much covered everything. Shall we move on to the women's?
I mean, that's a bloody good first review. Let's give that a good rap, because that covered everything, and I think that summed up a lot of feeling about the game.
Yeah, I think maybe a way I'd like to do this, if that's okay by you guys, is me run through kind of.
At what point do you want your spunk poem?
The bullet points that I've written down, and then I'll come to you guys to comment on each of those, and then we'll move on to the next and the next and the next, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, go on.
From my perspective, I don't know if it was the tension, the nerves, the guy who sat behind me who was violently abusive to all of the Wigan players every time they didn't score a try at any point. I don't know if it was all of that coming together, but at the game I thought Warrington were definitely the better side. It felt to me like they were faster almost the whole game, particularly around the ruck. I thought Wigan spent more time going sideways than forwards for huge chunks of the game, although obviously in the key moments we delivered better precision in execution than Wire. I think we'll talk about the first tries really, because I think we were a bit lucky in our first try to get the field position. I thought that was a harsh penalty. It made me wonder if they're being tougher on hits on halfbacks, kind of like an NFL style roughing the passer penalty, because there was other tackles where upper arms and stuff caught cheeks and chins that weren't giving us high tackles later on in the game. But then I also thought Sargentson knocks it backwards in the build up to their first try, so you win some, you lose some. Alan.
Right. Go to Tim first. I'm trying to gather my thoughts.
So the one thing I noticed right at the beginning
had 2 days.
was Wire were really flat in their attack. I was watching, because the vantage point I had where I was nice and high up and I was side on, you could see how flat they were, really flat. And to me, that comes from the halfbacks. They weren't dictating where they needed people. They weren't calling the plays right. They were really shallow, and it was just not giving them the options, and it also wasn't opening up the space. So at that very beginning point, they were, the first 10-15 minutes, they were so bunched in together and they were so flat that they just weren't giving themselves the room to work, which when you've got the players they've got, you've got players who can exploit space. So that was really, really odd for me why they'd sort of chosen to do that. But one of the things I picked out really early on was Tommy Luluai's defence.
Yeah,
big absolutely fantastic, and just really, I mean, as we've said it before on the show, he just made absolute granite coming up into line and really pushing. And there was one tackle he put in which was just absolutely superb, wasn't it?
Early doors there was a tackle where it was him and O'Loughlin combined, I think, on maybe it was on Goodwin or Hughes, Goodwin or Thompson. I mean, it's one of the people down that edge that was just knocked him back, and and showed that we meant business. When I watched it back, I actually thought we were much better than I thought we were live. So I don't know if you guys thought it was an even game all the time without having any skin in the game, as it were. Alan, have you had a chance to give your thoughts?
No. I was just trying to think about, because the thing I really want to talk about is something in the second half, but I'll leave that. I thought that all the signs were good to start with for Warrington. I think the movement for their first try